the box. You opened it. We came.
Hey dears, Zimzy here, and I have such sights to show you because in celebration of the current Hellraiser renaissance that's going on right now in light of the upcoming HBO series, as well as Pinhead being turned into a new killer for Dead by Daylight, I decided to revisit the first series and I read the novella for the first time, and I'm so excited to have new people discover this series. So if you are a newcomer and want to hear what it's all about, or if you just want to reminisce and revisit a series you love, buckle up because I'm going to open the box on Hellraiser. Starting off, I suppose I should talk about the creator, the author of the series himself, Clive Barker, who is a queer British author known for his bizarre, nightmarish, and grotesque horror stories. And he kind of tends to sometimes incorporate sadomasochistic elements into his work, which you can see in Hellraiser for sure. Then of course we have the novella that started it all, the Hellbound Heart, which Hellraiser is an almost exact adaptation of, because the author, Clive Barker, he was the director of the movie. So it's really faithful. In fact, like, even lines of dialogue are the same, like,
Oh, no tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering.
no tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering. Like, oh my god, I know they're kind of cheesy, but, like, the lines of Hellraiser are so iconic from the Cenobites. And then Frank's a creep. Oh, I suppose before I get ahead of myself, I should give a brief summary of the plot. So the story centers around a horny guy named Frank who hears from a friend that if he solves a magical puzzle box, interdimensional beings will appear that can grant him wishes. So he decides to solve the puzzle box, and the Cenobites appear. And he tells them that he wants pleasure. He wants a whole harem of women, and the Cenobites are like, don't worry, we got you. We'll show you pleasure. Only it's not quite what he's expecting. And they skin him and torture him and flay him. So he somehow manages to escape them, and he asks the help of his brother's wife, who he's had an affair with, to help revive him because he's missing a lot of skin. He's not pretty to look at. So she starts bringing him like little sacrifices to kill and drain the blood of so he can be restored. All in the meanwhile, his niece, Christy, thinks something's in the house. Something's not right here. So now that we have the meat of the story established, I do want to get into the differences between the movie and the novella. And I will say probably the biggest, most glaring difference is that there is no Pinhead in the novella. He's only in the movie. There's kind of this unnamed Cenobite, and he does kind of take on some of their lines, like, we'll tear your soul apart. So he becomes more of his own character within the movie. And I will actually say, I feel like the Cenobites are slightly more hostile in the movie. So like in this novella, when Christy accidentally solves the puzzle box, not knowing what she's getting into, they're like, oh yeah, it's happened before. Whereas in the movie, they're more skeptical of her. And also, I feel like they leave the situation in the novella more peacefully. They just, after they take Frank, they peace out. They go back to their dimension. Whereas in the film, they're still trying to take Christy with them. And they don't leave until Christy solves the puzzle box. And even while she's like trying to solve it, Pinhead is like, no, don't do that. Because in general, Cenobites are tied to and very rule oriented. Like, they have to be summoned, and they expect people who solve the box to want to go to their plane of pleasure and pain. Like Pinhead says, Cenobites are demons to some, angels to others, depending on what way you look at it and what you view as a good time. I will say, in the comics, sometimes the Cenobites are pretty nice. Like, they saved a chimp from being tested, and they protected an abused girl from her father. So they're not all bad. Yes, they torture people, but the people who they tortured, they thought they wanted to be. Overall, I adored reading the novella for the first time, and of course, I adore the Hellraiser movie. I will say, like, the special effects team did a fantastic job on the Cenobites and all the body horror, and also Clive Barker, his own writing is very visceral and descriptive and gnarly, so there's some stomach-churning scenes and sequences. Like, if you want me to read, like, a little sampler passage, I can read to you when Christy first discovers Frank in his new state. So, it was human, she saw, or had been, but the body had been ripped apart and sewn together again, with most of its pieces either missing or twisted and blackened, as if in a furnace. There was an eye, gleaming at her. In the ladder of a spine, the vertebrae stripped of muscle, a few unrecognizable fragments of anatomy. That was it. That such a thing might live beggared reason. What little flesh it owned was hopelessly corrupted, yet lived it did. So, there you have it. If that's your first time experiencing Clive Barker's writing, I totally recommend checking out the Hellbound Heart as well as his other short stories. And he did a YA series called Aberrat, I believe. There's more Clive Barker if you want to go down that rabbit hole. But yeah, like I said in the beginning, I am so excited to be seeing this like re-interest in the Hellraiser series resurfacing, like all the Pinhead fan art and memes, because I have a confession to make. I low-key find Pinhead kind of attractive because he's just so charismatic, and what can I say? I have a thing for guys with piercings. But anyway, if you've read the novella or if you've watched the movie, let me know down below what you think about it. And let me know if you know of any other like body horror-ish movies or books down below in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the flip side. See ya!